I feel like going da 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 da. Here's Bill. Here's Bill and Clam Bake Dave. Welcome once again to the exciting world of scale modeling with me, your host Bill Grigg. I am your instructor. I am your host, and this is simple diorama and ground work techniques. As usual, as always, as the sun rises and the sun sets, and clam bakes abound on the Cape of the Codfish, we have my infamous, my world-renowned buddy over here, Clam Bake Dave, behind the lens of the camera. We will say, yeah! Hi, Dave. How are you, bud?
No, I know what to do with that.
Yeah, I know what to do with that. Yeah, honest to God. Good. So, listen, we are episode now 41. It's not 5, 41. Put it this way, 41. My homies. Keep my homies. And so episode 41, we're going to continue on with figures, and I'm going to do some base painting and some basic construction here so you can see how these things go together before we get to the point where I got on these people over here previously.
Okay, could you just get rid of those boxes or move them out of the way? 'Cause they do get me.
Okay. I'll tell you what, too bad Nubby isn't here. We could have Nubby handing me stuff, but I don't know where the Nubster is. He's off in Gnome World somewhere doing something gnome-wise. Maybe he's making nomenclature.
Oh, no. Better quit while you're behind.
I'm going to tell a story before we get going because foolishness abounds here. My buddy calls me the other day. I says, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm chasing a mole around the backyard." I says, "You're chasing a mole around the backyard?" He goes, "Yeah, you know, this stupid thing wants to be a dentist." I said, "You're chasing a mole around your backyard that wants to be a dentist?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, what's up with that?" He goes, "Well, the mole, he's got a bad molar." Groan. But I thought it was witty. Anyhow, let's go. Now, what I think I'll do first right now is I think I'll base in some other pieces for you. Because I was looking at this, and there are a few things here that can be done. Now, in my typical fashion of keeping my brain straight, this is what I'm going to do here. I don't like to have extra plastic. I don't like it. But I'm going to show them this. This is good. This is a good teaching thing here, Dave. Each one of these trees, all these trees, they have got, I have an awful hard time saying this word. They have got, oh man, why do I have trouble with this word? I've always had trouble with this word. Specific parts that are to that tree that correspond with this. So, as you can see it right here, this is tree A. See it? Now, if I look at this right here, the parts are numbered. Like I'll just call these out. Like there must be a tree that's called G because that's GA2. This is B13. This is C2. This is WB5. So they are God, I shouldn't even use that word in my vocabulary. But they're pertinent. Oh, there's a better word. They're pertinent to each figure. I can at least pronounce pertinent. So when I cut this up, just to keep it in my head, I'm going to save the A, but I want to get rid of all this other. For some reason, this distracts me. I don't know why it does. Also, I'm cutting off a hat here right now. It's C18. I won't take the cap off the tree part because I still want to know what the number of this part is. But I don't want it there. I don't want all this other stuff here. I don't know. This is just me, folks. You don't have to do this. But man, this bothers me. Here's something else that needs to be saved right there. You know what else I like about cutting parts down? Is I don't seem to have a clutter in my box. There's not all this excess plastic, which to me is distracting. I don't know if it's because I got ADD or DAV or FDR or CIA, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It just is. This is just something I do. You've seen me do this a lot. And then, of course, you can get your hello, 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 quite so. So that's another reason to cut them down. Like I need more stern sticks, Dave. Like I need more stern sticks. Okay, here we go. Let's get this down. Now, what have I got on here? Got a bunch of faces, and I've got some boots. The boots appear to all be pretty much the same, and I would say they are probably a black boot or a gray boot. I think I will do these with a very dark gray. This is a color you just can't get anymore. This is an old Packer Hot Rod Primer color. Gone. Gone, gone, gone. Dave, do you remember Hobby Bunker in Kingston?
Yes.
Remember him? Remember that box he had on the floor that had all the various little crazy colors in it? You remember that little box he had now? I was in there one night and I was digging for this color because this is, it's hard to get. It was the company had been out of production, been out of business for quite a while. And, oops, ew. That's from using a stirrer that I didn't know what I got it from. Eek, take that out of there. Get rid of that. That's messy. Matter of fact, give me my new stirrer. Give me my new stirring stick. Oh, geez, Bob said to me that night, he goes, listen, if you want that whole box, he goes, give me $5. A box like this, full of, I got like 10 bottles of hot rod primer out of that, which was cherry because it was gone, And no one ever really made a real dark gray like this. Here's something good for you. If you're going to be painting a piece black, like these boots, you're better off to start out with a very, very dark gray and give them a black wash to give the appearance of black boots, rather than to paint black boots. Because think about this, folks. I've said this a million times. You very rarely use white and you very rarely use black because how do you lighten white to enhance it and how do you darken black to enhance it? You can't. So I have a tendency, if I'm doing something black, I'll start out with a really dark gray and then put a black wash on top of it, and that gives me the appearance that the piece is black. Because you're going to highlight the boots anyhow with whatever. I probably will muddy these up. I don't know what I'm going to do yet for a base, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to take this entire piece once these figures are all together. Then I'm going to show you how you custom using the sheetrock that I did way back in like episodes like 4 and 5 or 6, something like that. Way back in, I think it was 2010. Believe that, 2010? Dude, we've been doing this a while, huh? And then I'll do the hands, do the faces, get them all based in. See a potato masher right there. And this looks like a mine. 820, I'll have to see what that is. That looks like a mine. Boy, is this thick. Here we go. Nice, nice, nice. Nice, 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 nice. Onto the palette. Put that down. Un poco PBM. I had a guy over here the other day that actually says, man, he goes, that PBM. Boy, do I love that. And you gotta. The same thing with that decaling technique that I've done now. Put the image on, let the water come up through. I got guys calling me rave. Oh my God, well, what made you think of that? So I was just thinking about it. It didn't make any sense to me the way I was doing it. It just started to not make any sense to me. So, onto the boots. Zaboots. Ja, das ist gut. Ja, das ist gut boot. And easy. Look at this, guy. Come on. Boobadoom. Thanks a lot. Don't forget the bottoms. Not hard at all. I know some guys that would load an airbrush and do these with their airbrush. I don't choose to do that. These have even got the hobnails on the bottom of the boots. There's no need to put those there. You're never going to see him. Unless he's got his feet up or something. I can't say enough about this new technology stuff. It is just really superior. You know what else is good? I think I mentioned this before. There are 1, 2, 3, I think there's 6 guys, yeah. No. Yeah, there's 6 guys in this set. 6 plastic figures in this set, I believe, were $16.98. You take one resin figure of high quality, and they run anywhere between $12.98 and $18.98 for one figure. And these are as good as anything I've seen in resin. Plus, they're engineered so well. You know what else is nice about these? You don't have that resin plug that you have to take off, and sometimes you can get a little aggressive with that resin plug. I will build a resin figure here eventually down the road. We'll do something in resin. And I'll show you on a piece of scrap how quickly resin can go bad on you. I think I'll take that hand grenade, and just paint that. I know it's got a wooden handle, and I don't know what that is. I'm going to leave that be. All right, we'll put that down for 1 second. Clean the brush. There's a lot of other stuff I could go into these other trees too and paint this dark gray right now, but without me sitting here and boring you by going, oh, I need to paint. I'm not going to do that right now. God, we're pound nails into your head enough with some of the things I do here. I can't believe we watched the guy clean his brush. Well, yeah, this is, again, like I say, all the time, I want to show you the entire process of truly building a model. This is truly what model making involves. This is truly what model making is all about. And I hope you can get a better understanding of how this process is by watching me do the full technique. Now, this is something I do. You may not want to do this, but this is something that I do, and I've been doing it for years, and it seems to work okay for me. I base my flesh in with light tan number 1170. I've done it for years. It seems to be a good color. I know a lot of people try to get in with the pinks and the raw umbers and the raw siennas and the burnt umbers and burnt siennas and all. I don't. But like I say, a lot of times my techniques are uniquely me. This is good. And again, we should have the Rockettes come in and perform while I'm stirring the paint, huh?
Rockettes and a couple of pizzas.
Nothing goes together like on a cold day as good as Rockettes and pizza, huh? You ever see the Rockettes? You ever go see the Rockettes? No? My parents took me when I was a little kid. Here's a good story while we're doing this. I'm like 5 or 6 years old. We're downtown New York. We've come out of the Rockette show, and we're standing in front of CBS or NBC or ABC, or we're in front of the studios there. And there was a woman that had a show, and she came out And apparently, I guess I was a cute little guy. And this woman was instantly taken to me and said to my mom and dad, let me bring him in, get him upstairs and put him on the show and talk to him. And my parents were like, well, we're going to go see the Guggenheim, whatever we're going to go do. And I never went upstairs and got on the TV with a woman. And it's one of those, that's one of those things in your mind way down the road. You wonder, geez, if I had gone on that show, would I have been like the next Beaver Cleaver or the, you don't know, because you don't know. Fate is a weird thing. Okay, now I've gone into there's a shift in subject matter, huh? Fate's a weird thing. Now I've gone into my light tan and I'm going to do you might as well take a close-up of these before we paint them, Dave. Get these. It's this whole line right here. There's 6 of them.
Okay.
Got them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this is all we're going to do. Watch, this is so ridiculously simple. Now, also, I should show you this too. Just get in on, don't put that in your mouth. Get on just these 2 pieces right here. They've given you the front of his head and the back of his head. This is such a great idea because what they've done now is you can do a high detailed paint in the back of his head, high detailed paint in the top of his head, and what they've done is where the 2 pieces come together, they put the chin strap from the helmet down there. So you've got the chin strap and then the back of the head starts. So you get this clean demarcation line between the 2 pieces. It's just, this to me is just genius mold making. Whoever thought this, obviously model builders. And this is what you do. Now this is a flat enamel paint. And the reason I'm using an enamel on their faces versus an acrylic, it's because I've got a good color, what I like to have for flesh, versus anything that I've got in an acrylic. Front of his head, front of his face. You know what, Dave? While we're talking about figures, we're going to take a little shorty break here, quick. Oh, that's got the back of his hood. I shouldn't paint that color. And I'll do his hands while I still got this color out. And then we'll take a little cut because I've got to show you some 35th scale figures painted that you're not going to believe. These are 35th. You're not going to believe this. This guy has got to be painted. When you do hands, watch what I do. I kind of just got to get that solid so it doesn't move. See it? I'm not really like stroking. I'm kind of like scrubbing it. That's so you can get in between the lines of the fingers. Also, I'm running out of paint. I'm going to cheat and just grab a tiny bit of thinner. There it is. And come over here and just get myself a little more paint. Notice how I keep everything closed up all the time. Look at this one here, Dave. Get this one here. He's pointing.
Got it.
You couldn't do that years ago with that mold making process years ago. You had a closed hand, closed fingers. You couldn't get separation in fingers. Also, a lot of these now, too, have followed the resin God, I'm so lost for words. What they do in resin pieces, a lot of times if a man is holding a weapon, they don't give you his hand and then you take the weapon and insert the weapon, like the hand is here, then you insert the handle of the weapon into the hand. What they do now, in what guys do in resin, is they put it right into the hand, and then it's just a detailed painting piece, which is much better because now the finger can go in and go on to the trigger. Whereas before, it was a hand, and that held the weapon like this. The finger wasn't separate up onto the trigger. With these, they are. As a matter of fact, I can show you one right here. I don't know if you can see it. Get a close-up on this. Well, folks, Dave and I just had the clam bake, I just had two major technical glitches. My audio went away. So we're back, and hopefully we'll stay this time, and I can keep on going, because I don't remember what I was saying. So if I double this up, well then, just get Martha with her shotgun and come down and deal with the problem. But like I was saying, in this new mold making technique, you're able to actually take the guy's hand, it has the weapon in it already with the finger on the trigger. It's just beautiful. It's perfect. We good? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm getting nervous. 2 in a row, man. 2 in a row. So this is really good. And like I was saying, I think we went no audio here, Dave, on this piece here, because I was showing, it looks like they got on the bottom of a stick grenade in the hand already, molded into the hand. It's so much better to mold the piece into the hand and then add parts on either side than to try to make it look convincing by having a hand, you got my hand like this? Having a hand that you are now going to take the pistol grip and put it in, because I have always noticed it never fits right, or sometimes it doesn't even fit. You're pushing and it doesn't fit. It's just so aggravating, so aggravating. But anyhow, these are all based in, and I'm going to probably now let these, I shouldn't say dry, because our glitches took us to the point where they are dry. I could actually probably enhance on those right now. Let's do this guy right now. Let's get him with a little enhancement on him. No, I'm not going to, because I need to paint straps and stuff on him. Let's put a guy together. Now, I think I'm going to probably do this guy right here in his winter coat. One of the few lucky Germans that actually had a winter coat. That's the guy I'm going to do. So now he is number 4 guy, and he looks like he's a lot of D's and stuff. So, yep, D17, D18. Now, let me show you these pieces here. This is the beauty of this particular molding process. Everything is in pieces, which is great because in the old days, you could never have, let's say, a lapel on the jacket. Let's say the comes down in the split, and the lapel is up. You could never do that in the old process. But now what they do is they give you this chunk of the coat, and then you glue the lapel with its flappy up onto this coat. I really like this. Obviously you can tell I really like this. Now the thing is, all I have to go with is this right here, because I've actually lost the black and white. But that's because I build so many figures. I don't really need these, but I should have them. D3, D4. D3, yes, sirree. D3, D4, yes, they go together. Okay. Cut these off. And Dave, I'm going to give you a little test. I'm going to test you, Dave.
All right.
When we first take parts like this and use them how do I want to say this so you...
Stirring stick.
Before I do... Yeah, stirring sticks, yeah. Before I do anything with these two parts, like glue-wise or anything, what should I do with these first? Do you remember? Dry fit? Dry fit, make sure so you know how they go together. And this is what I'm going to do now. Also, I want to check these for anything that needs to be cleaned up. Like I got a little nub right there. So I take the flat file and just clean that knob up. That little sticky out. Sorry to be so technical, folks. I don't mean to be so technical in my explanations. But it is a sticky out. D3. Oh, that's his front of him and the back of him. Okay. How does this fit? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Isn't that nice? Yeah, that. Okay, here's something we can see right in the two sides of the pieces. Once you figure out how they go, you can see the little notch sticking out and the little hole sticking in, and those two pieces go together like that. So what we're going to do now, this is making life easy. This makes your life easy. Take these two pieces, put them down. We got an idea of how they go together. Now, I can take, I'll take one of these. Here we go. Take my little platform. Pull off the old crappy tape. And get myself a new piece of masking. You can use double stick too. You know what I found though in double stick? Double stick is so aggressive in its adhesive. It has a tendency that when you sit it on a piece and the piece sits there for a while, you take your piece off. You got a little bit of residue on your piece from the double stick because it's so aggressive. But then again, it might be because I'm using really aggressive double stick, you know. But I don't use that. I don't even buy it anymore. I just double over the piece of masking tape, put it on. Now, again, look at how many times have I dry fit this guy together, right? It's got to be right when he goes on first. There we are. There we are. Now, I know these two pieces fit together like this. So look what I'm going to do when I put this down, just to keep your brain straight. I put it down in the manner that it's going to be constructed in. So his back goes on the tape. The other piece comes over and sits sideways. So I know all I've got to do is pick that up and import it over here. Now, here they are. Well, isn't it nice when I got stuff that I'm going to use right at my, right, and not be, where's Leonard Nimoy when we need in search of? Leonard Nimoy was on Gunsmoke the other day. He must have been like 18, 19 years old. I was like, oh, that's Leonard Nimoy. He was played a gambler, I believe. Okay, with the precision glue with our little stainless steel tip, what do we do first? We get the glue going, so we know we got glue flow, and onto the piece, hold it tight, plant your hand tight, and let that capillary action just work for you. And there we go. Not hard. Pick the piece up. We know it fits this way. And drop it in. Now notice I'm keeping my hand away from the seam, the glue seam. If it squirts out, do you remember what we do if we get a little glue squirt? We get the two pieces together, we get a little squirty squirt up the top. Should we clean that then, or we should let it dry and clean it up afterwards? Let it dry, clean it up afterwards. Good for you, Dave. Good for you. Okay, there's his upper body. Now, let us take a good look at this picture. And again, this is going to be, literally take the number 11 blade and just jab it into your temple, because I've got to figure out now from the picture, yeah, that is the back of his jacket. That is not something that I'm going to be putting a coat over. Sometimes the way they've done these figures too is you put the guy together, he's got his regular shirt, button down the front shirt on, but then you put a jacket on top of that, but the jacket is probably going to be opened up so you see a lot of the shirt inside. So, like I say again, I'm so impressed by this company. Now, it looks like I'm going to do the bottom of his long jacket. Yeah, it is. All right, so now I'm going to take the bottom of his long coat, which is D18 and D17. Yep. Maybe I should put his legs on first. Ah, they are telling me that. Look at this. Here's a good thing. Right here. See his legs? So I need to put his legs on before I put his jacket on. Yep, that makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. And his legs are D9 and D10. D9 on D10 off of the B tree. How many people get a chance to say that in their lives? Not many, do they? Okay, taking the dikes. And we cut, and we cut. Now this is probably going to require a little more cleanup before we put this together. And I'll show you how you do that. Okay, boom. Ow! Sorry, I'll be back. Hello, told you. Almost stabbed myself in the foot. My buddy did one night. He actually rolled off, went right down, right in the top of his sneaker. Boom. And all of a sudden I got my back turned to him, and I was like, "Whoa!" Looked down, I'm like, oh, that's not good. How'd you do that? Oh, my knife rolled off. So therefore, to stop it rolling off, put a little square piece in there with a little tape. It's only going to roll that far. This is a technique I learned from a guy out of the Cape Cod Scale Modelers Club. It's a good little trick. Now, yes we do. We have a mold seam running through here. Now, when I do clean up on figures, I have a tendency to go in more with a round file, but a very less aggressive round file. I'll show you the two that I'm going to... I'll show you the one that I usually use to beat things down, and then I'll show you the one I'm going to use for this. As a matter of fact, let me even get out a third one. What I'm doing here, folks, so I'm not having a good time with a file, is I'm feeling the tooth of what's there. I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want to go in and when I sand his pants, put scratches into his pants. How much fabric do you see it's scratched? I think this is a good one right here. Now, I don't think you'll be able to see this, but, well, let's try it. Let's try it. We do have a good camera for extreme close-ups. We really do. Right there is where the mold came together to join and make that a solid piece of leg. There's a mold seam right there. Does it film or no? Nah, yeah, I know it. It's so slight. So slight. But because there's creases and stuff like that, I don't want to go in with a piece of sandpaper because, I'll use my fingers. If I was to take this edge, and these are the creases in the guy's clothing on his pants, if I was to go in there and take a piece of sandpaper, and what I could do is I could reduce it down to where there's no or take the round part and put a flat spot on it. So as the pant comes out, it balloons out, but then there's this flat spot, which would be unnatural. It wouldn't look like the fabric's correct. So therefore, that's why I don't use sandpaper to take out these seams. I use a round file, and I stay way out in the other end, and gently, this is again, go make a sandwich, guys, while I do this, or make some microwave popcorn. That's good. And because the tooth on the file is so non-aggressive, I guess is good to say. Let me put this here. Can you hear it? Can you hear me? You hear how that's not really tight like this one here. Listen to this thing. Oh my! I actually just filed my nail. So that's why I'm on this with this, and this might take a little while. Also, because it's round and pointed, it's way better to get in between the seams on the pant leg to get that seam out. It is essential to take, why do I say that? It is, advanced modelers, it's essential to take this seam out in these pants. It's essential. But listen, if you're out there, and you know, I want to get this for everybody. If you're out there just enjoying yourself and, you know, winging around like a train guy, I hate you're just winging around, you don't want to take out the seam. Don't take out the seam. Put the damn thing, build it, you glue it together, put them together, and have a guy walking around that's a segmented guy. You know? Unless you're a train guy. Oh, by the way, hello to the train guys. Oh, man. In the donut shop. Hi, boys. It's me again, giving you a hard time. What's the matter with train guys? We had a good time. I got to say that the five of us, that was a lot of laughs. So the guy in the engineer cap there that, what's the matter with train guys? Hey, hello, it's me again. I told him I'd say hi. I'm glad you watched me, though. I hope you are learning something from this and having as many laughs about being a train guy as Dave and I do. Dave's like, leave me out of this. Ixnay on the train array. He's like, no. That's okay. Now look at, along with all my foolishness, I'm still working. I got to see this, Dave. Give me a second here, son. Not bad. Also, I've talked about being under a natural light, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And on the other side, we go. And the same thing. Here's his seam. I want to show you the entire process of cleaning this man up. I'm going to do both legs, then glue them together, and you can become an alcoholic probably. I'll probably be turning people into alcoholics. I can't take this anymore. I need a drink. But this is it. This is scale modeling, and figure modeling to me is even more exact. Because now it's not a piece of armor or a piece of aircraft. It's not, you know, a static piece. It's a live, moving. And to convey that in a figure is actually kind of tough. You know what? We'll take a not a break, but once I get this leg cleaned up, I'm going to show you some painted figures that you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. Okay, again, I got to take a look at it. Not bad. There's a little spot right there. Okay, now, I don't know how this man paints I don't know how this guy is doing this. I don't know how he's doing it. I'm going to show you these. You can get these two middle pictures. No glare, Dave?
Wait a minute.
That square and that square. Good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Those are 35th scale figures. Yeah, huh? Yeah, that's what I did too. I said, there's no way. There's no way you can't paint a 35th scale figure like that. This guy did. Is that amazing? It's amazing. It's just they're so well done. Little 5 o'clock shadows. His uniform is perfect. Do you even notice he's got all his campaign ribbons on there? 35th scale. 35th scale. Are there any others that are really like equally as well done here? Oh yeah. Officer and a Gentleman guy. These two right here. Looks like Richard Gere. 35th scale in a white uniform. That insane or what? It's insane. I would love to know who is the man that does the figures for your company. This must be the guy that was the gunner, the famous gunner at Pearl Harbor. This guy here. Look at that. To do a black man, that's even harder painting because of the skin tone.
Okay.
I've only done one African American guy ever in my life, ever. It was just, whoa, gee, man, it was making me wiggy. But anyhow, that is what can be accomplished with, oh, you know what? Here, let's take one more because this is just too outstanding. Take this guy right here. Again, 1/35th scale figure. Look at the detail. Exquisite, exquisite, exquisite. Here's something good to teach you with. I've often said many times, to be a good figure painter, find other people's work that you really admire and try to paint to that standard. So in other words, when I go in and start doing these people's faces, I'm going to get a course under extreme magnification. Extreme, because there's no two ways. I can't see how you could do 35th scale campaign ribbons. And you know what else? I had a Marine over here, and he says, oh my God, they're in the right order. I wouldn't even know what the right order was on these ribbons. But he's got them right. He's got everything right. It's just, I don't know. Boy, that guy is... But to me, that's got to be under extreme magnification. He's done beautiful work even on the dress for the pattern on the dress. You know that pattern is not in that dress. You know that's a painted on pattern. I'd love to know who that painter is. I bet you $100 he's Oriental. I bet you $100 he is. Because there's a guy that does 28 millimeter figures out of Japan. This is 35th. This is, 35th. We're talking 28 millimeter figure. I had a friend of mine showing me pictures off of her web thing. And I'm like, oh, come on. Those have got to be 1/32 scale, 1/16 scale. 28 millimeter. And he's painting with acrylics and getting blends like you do in an oil paint. I don't know how they do this. I would give my right tooth to sit with that guy for a while. Well, not my right tooth because I use that a lot. Maybe my left tooth. Heavens to Murgatroyds. And again, back to the leg and back to the exciting world of sanding seams. Is that not amazing work? Amazing work. Old Hobbytown guy came over. And he's like, I got a catalog that you need to see. And he didn't say anything at first about the scale. He just handed me the catalog. I'm like, oh my God, these are exquisitely done figures. He goes, yeah, look at the top of the page. I said, it says 35th scale. He's like, yep. I said, these can't be 35th scale figures. He's like, they're 35th scale. Whoa, 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 getting too far down into on the file, too much of the fat end. Silver bells, ye gods. Got to take me a look, Dave. Got to take a little look-see. Oh, bad. Nice. Now, again, there's also a seam down the side of the leg, but that's where they sewed the pants together. So don't get rid of that seam. Just get rid of your mold seams. And I'll show you the other thing here. Like I was talking about when I did my sleeve thing and stuff. See what they did with the bottom of his pant leg? See how it's hollow? Good? Mm-hmm. See how that's hollow? That's beautiful. Because now the pant leg is, I'll do it with my fingers. The pant leg will go around the boot, not have any solid in here, and have a very natural hang to it. So as you look at the figure and you roll around the diorama, because you see people look at dioramas, they're all over the place looking around, rolling around. With that hollow in there, it makes the boot, when the boot goes in, very, very realistic. It doesn't look like it's the old days molded down, solid, and then the boot comes down and everything's solid. You know, if you're using figures like that and you're not, oh man, you know, I get so elitist sometimes. If you're using figures like that and you want a really good appearance to your finished product, it is not going to happen with figures of that quality. It's not going to do it. You need to have a high quality figure in a well painted piece to have that wow factor in your modeling. But again, if you don't care, just put it together. Now again, I dry fit. That's good. I think the body here is tacked enough. And again, I just do this to make my gluing easy. Whoa, nub. There's a nub. Not nitwit nubby either. You know, I'm kind of glad that gnome isn't here today. I'm kind of glad he isn't here. He gets on my nerves sometimes. He bit me in the knee, you know. Nubby bit me in the knee one day. Just out of the blue, just I feed him on a regular basis. Okay. Here we go. Now I've dry fit this. I know how it goes together. Again, when you buy this glue, you're going to get this little cleaner thing with it. I like to just keep it in the tube. instead of setting it down. It's one of those things that could get easily lost. And I always start my glue off of my subject, so I know I've got a glue tip there, and I've got that little bead of glue right at the end and right in here. Boom.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Are you kidding? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Come here. Put that immediately back. Slide it in. Also, a lot of times when you glue something, it's a good idea to give it maybe a couple of seconds when it's this small to let the glue tack up a little bit, so you're not going in. When glue tacks up a little bit, it has less of a tendency that when you put the two pieces together to squeeze out. Not that it won't, because it could, but it has much less of a tendency to do that. And there are no male and female alignment tabs or nothing like that. This is just an actual seam fit. So once you get him together, pick him up, give him a good little squeezy. Make sure these two parts line up and push them together. Now, here's a little trick too. Because we all know in the back of your pants, you got a seam that runs up the back of your pants. You got a seam that runs down through the crotch for the zipper. You don't want to get rid of these seams on this. So what I do is I'll just take, while it's at this point in time, and I'll take this round file with its very pointed end and just kind of go in and just gently smooth that seam. But it's got to be gentle, because obviously you have wet glue in there. You don't want to take the wet glue, pull it out, and get it on the back of his pants. Now you got a problem you need to fix. Plus, he's getting a coat over him. You're going to see the back of his pants. All right. Now, we also have on the top of this, once he's together, we have a little raised, you can see it, little raised little ring. That's so the bottom of this piece here can fit on top of that, and it will align the figure. You notice it's not perfectly round, and this here is not perfectly round. If it was perfectly round, you could take his upper torso and you could turn him all over the place. But what would happen is, because of his upper body turning, it may not be in conjunction with his lower body, and the figure will get, even though you can do it it's humanly possible to. I'm not moving my feet, and I can turn. But that's not a natural body position. If I was going to turn, I'd move my foot. So that's why they take this and they give it a little off oval or off center. So when you put this on, his body and his upper body and his lower body reflect a natural position instead of this weird, what is he doing, Now, I think these are together enough. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not, Dave. How are we doing time? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? All right. I think that's pretty much enough of this. What I will do down the road, because I've got to let this glue dry up now. I've got a seam here that needs to come out before I do anything else. But just to show you what I will be doing after that seam is cleaned up, what's the front and back of his pants? Hey, you got no fly? You don't have a fly in your pants. Oh, my God. Well, anyhow, we got 2 minutes. That's good. Thank God, because I don't know what the front of his pants are and the back of his pants are. Looks like this is the front of his pants. Oh, no, it's not. That don't fit that way. Just roll them around. There he is. There it is. So anyhow, that is a little bit of figure painting for us right here on Simple Groundwork and Diorama Techniques. You have just witnessed episode 41 of this stupendous groundbreaking show. So once again, for me and my faithful clam bake man, we'll say bye-bye. You keep on building, or Dave and I are coming to your house and kicking your butt. Take care, folks. You keep on building, keep on painting. These techniques will work for you. Bye-bye.